Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join me as we explore Southwest's lost historical characters, stunning desert vistas, forgotten Native American history, or tales of lost gold mines. There's always something new to discover. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome, listeners, to another episode of Southwest Desert. Today, we're diving into a tale that's as salty as it is sweet, the rise and fall of the Salton Sea Salt Works. It's a story of entrepreneurial spirit, technological innovation, and the raw power of nature. So sit back, relax, and let's journey back to a time when white gold glittered in the California desert. It's 1855 and the California gold rush is still in full swing. While thousands of prospectors are panning for yellow nuggets in the streams and mountains, a group of visionary businessmen have their eyes set on a different kind of treasure, one that lies 265 feet below sea level in the scorching Salton Sink. Led by George W. Dubrow, these men founded the New Liverpool Manufacturing Company, later known as the New Liverpool Salt Company. Their goal? To harvest the vast salt deposits that stretched across nearly 1,000 acres of sun-baked desert. Little did they know that their enterprise would become one of the largest salt operations in the United States, only to vanish beneath the waves of an accidental sea half a century later. Let's fast forward to 1884, almost 3 decades after the company's founding. The scene that greets us is both awe-inspiring and punishing. As the July sun climbs over the horizon, its rays strike a landscape of dazzling white. The salt beds are so bright that most white men can't look at them without smoked glasses. But the local Native American workers, already accustomed to the harsh desert conditions, are unfazed. They trudge across the salt flats, ready for another day of back-breaking labor in temperatures that will soar to a blistering 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another Southwest tale. If you would like to help support my channel and hit the super thanks heart icon on the bottom of the video and contribute. This is very helpful. Sit back and enjoy. The salt harvested here isn't just any salt. Tests have shown it to be between 94.68 and 97.76% pure sodium chloride. This exceptional purity means that the New Liverpool Salt Company doesn't need the usual refining machinery found in other salt works. Their operation is surprisingly simple, yet incredibly effective. At the heart of their harvesting process are large, 4-wheeled plows. Picture this. A Native American worker sits at the center of the plow, guiding it across the salt bed. But here's the clever part. The plow isn't pulled by horses or mules. Instead, it's attached to dummy engines on either side of the salt bed. These engines work in tandem to pull the plow back and forth, creating furrows about 8 feet wide and 6 inches deep. It's an impressive sight, with each plow capable of harvesting over 700 tons of salt per day. Once the salt is broken up by the plow, it's piled into small mounds around the drying shed. From there, it makes its final journey to the main mill. Inside the mill, the salt is hoisted to the upper floor and fed into a bulkhead breaker. This machine reduces the salt to uniform particles, which are then further ground down in a burr mill. The final stop is the bagging tables, where the salt is packaged and made ready for shipment to market. Now, you might be wondering, wouldn't they eventually run out of salt? Well, that's where the magic of the Salton Sink comes in. Every single day, underground water would seep up through the soil. As it evaporated in the intense desert heat, it would leave behind a fresh crust of almost pure sodium chloride, ranging from 10 to 20 inches thick. It was a natural salt factory, replenishing itself faster than the company could harvest it. In fact, during the entire lifespan of the salt industry in the Sink, only about 10 acres of the vast 1,000-acre deposit had been plowed. The salt from the Salton Sink found its way into various markets. The lowest grade was used for curing hides, while the highest quality made its way to drugstore shelves. At one point, when health enthusiasts were raving about the benefits of ocean bathing, large quantities were even sold as bath crystals. The price varied from $6 to $34 per ton, depending on the quality, a tidy sum in those days. But here's where our story takes an interesting turn. For nearly half a century, the new Liverpool Salt Company had been operating on this land without actually owning it. The title to the land was still vested in the United States government, a fact that didn't go unnoticed by their competitors. Enter the Standard Salt Company. In 1901, they brought this legal oversight to the attention of government officials. The new Liverpool Company was ordered to vacate the deposit they had worked for decades, but they weren't about to give up without a fight. In a move that would make modern lobbyists proud, the new Liverpool Company reached out to Senator William M. Stewart of Nevada. On January 22, 1901, Senator Stewart introduced an act extending the mining laws to saline lands to the Senate. The bill passed and was sent to the president for signature. What happened next was like something out of a Wild West novel. Both the new Liverpool Company and the Standard Company had stationed agents in Washington, D.C., and in the desert town of Mecca, the closest telegraph to the salt fields. They were poised for a race. As soon as word came that the president had signed the bill, each company wanted to be the first to file a claim on the choicest sections of the salt beds. The Standard Company had hired a team of horses and a buggy for their dash to the salt flats. The new Liverpool Company, in a risky move, decided to use an old railroad pump car on the spur track leading to the field. The message flashed over the wire. The bill was signed. The new Liverpool man ran to his team on the handcar, but the Standard Salt Company had an ace up their sleeve. They had secretly stationed a man on top of the telegraph office. As soon as he got the signal, he jumped up and, in full view of everyone, flashed a prearranged set of signals to another agent waiting at the salt deposits 12 miles away. In the end, a compromise was reached, and both companies were given equal footing in the salt business. In fact, by 1900, it seems the two companies had merged, with James S. Henton listed as the manager for both in the Los Angeles directory. Now, you might be thinking this is where our salt saga ends, with two competing companies joining forces to build a salt empire in the desert. But nature had other plans, and the next chapter of our story is one of destruction on a massive scale. In an attempt to control the mighty Colorado River for irrigation purposes, engineers from the California Development Company made a fateful decision. They diverted the entire volume of the river inland towards the Salton Sink. What happened next was nothing short of catastrophic. Millions of gallons of water poured into the Great Depression, forming what we now know as the Salton Sea. The salt companies watched helplessly as their precious salt beds disappeared beneath the rising waters. The Southern Pacific Railroad, which had laid tracks through the area, saw miles of its main line submerged. The railroad company would go on to spend over $2 million, an astronomical sum at the time, in repeated attempts to close the breach. They tied up more than 1,200 miles of main line track in these efforts, but the river proved to be a formidable opponent. As you might expect, lawsuits soon followed. The salt companies filed suit against the California Development Company in the Superior Court of Riverside County, asking for $200,000 in damages and an injunction to stop more water from flowing into the sink. But as the flooding continued, so did the damage. By January 1906, the salt companies had to file a supplementary bill asking for an additional $210,000, $180,000 for the beds, and $30,000 for their plant. By December 19, 1907, it was all over. The salt beds and plants were completely submerged. In a final amendment to their lawsuit, the salt companies raised their claim to a total of $600,000. The legal battle dragged on for years, moving from the Southern District Court to the United States Circuit Court of Appeals. In August 1909, Judge Morrow affirmed the lower court's decision, awarding the salt companies $456,746.23 in damages, plus $1,500 in costs. At last, the salt companies had their victory, but it was a bittersweet one. Their industry was gone, swallowed by the new Salton Sea. Today, as travelers pass by the Salton Sea, few realize the history that lies beneath its waves. Where once there was a vast expanse of glittering salt, later became beach resorts, speedboats, and thousands of migratory birds. The U.S. Navy used a large portion of the sea for experimental purposes. But now that is also lost due to high salinity, contamination from irrigation runoff, a closed drainage basin, and toxic dust. But if you look closely, you might just catch a glimpse of the past. Beneath the surface lies a submerged town, the remains of the Southern Pacific Railroad's main line, and the ghosts of the new Liverpool and Standard Salt Companies. The story of the Salton Sea Salt Works is more than just a tale of a lost industry. It's a reminder of the ingenuity of early American entrepreneurs, the harsh realities of desert life, and the unstoppable power of nature. It's a story of triumph and tragedy, of man's attempt to harness the desert's resources and the desert's ultimate victory. The Salton Sea Salt Works may be gone, but their story lives on, a testament to the ever-changing face of the American West and the enduring spirit of those who sought to tame it. Join us next time as we uncover more hidden stories from the Southwest frontier. Until then, keep exploring and remember, history is all around us, sometimes hidden just beneath the surface. Happy trails. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.